What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another Panel B podcast. I'm your host, Alex Jankowski. With me, as always, Steve Buchanan.
Cheers.
Julian Edlow.
I got nothing to say.
Got no drink to cheers. And we are here to talk about a lot of things, namely Week 6 recap, break down what worked, what didn't in the world of our picks, but also in the world of DFS. And otherwise, we'll preview, of course, tonight's Monday night showdown between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Talk a little baseball as well, and then hit on one of our all-time stacks. We have the Indianapolis Colts this week as an all-time stack. We'll see if we can find some way to differentiate against the field. My guess is we're going to be pretty chalky in a couple spots, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. Let's start with talking about Sunday. And before we get to our picks, I just have one question. T-minus, 1.5 days left in Dan Quinn's tenure with the Atlanta Falcons? How much longer do you think he stays?
I expected to wake up and the key didn't turn and he'd be gone, like 5 in the morning.
Jay Gruden.
Correct. I mean, to be fair, the outcome could have been different if Bryant didn't miss the extra point. Game would have went to overtime. Maybe the Falcons would have came away with a win. But I think they shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. Like, I think for the first half, Matt Ryan was great again.
Right.
Like, he's been fantastic. But, and I was saying this to Julian, like,
say it to all of us.
They just hate Julio Jones. Like, your team is down. You have that dynamic playmaker, and they're throwing to Devontae Freeman. They're throwing to Calvin Ridley.
But to your point, that doesn't even – I mean, they did go in and score, and the kicker missed the kick,
yes.
Whatever. But, I mean, to me, it's the defense. Again,
yeah.
A guy who was brought in for his defensive prowess.
Right.
And going up against a rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback who, granted, Kyler Murray's starting to look better. I'll give you that.
Fantastic.
But still, they made him look like he was back at Oklahoma.
So, yes, Dan Quinn should be fired today. He's doing a terrible job with a very talented team, but that's just like the start of the problem. So today, I would fire Dan Quinn. He's gone. I would fire Freddie Kitchens. I would have fired him after he ran a draw on 4th and 9 against the Rams, but we gave him a couple more weeks. He's fired today. Cowboys, Jason Garrett, you're canned. You just lost 3 in a row, including the Jets in New York. You're done.
What's your position on a business
Anthony
card
Lynn,
that you have the ability to fire all these coaches?
Anybody should be able to see this. I don't know why they can't. Anthony Lynn, you just got blown out by the Steelers at home on Sunday Night Football to a third-string quarterback whose claim to fame is that he won a duck-calling championship. Anthony Lynn.
Calling that a home loss, I think, is a little exaggerated.
That's
very
your
true.
Building.
That's your stupid little Major League Soccer stadium that holds 100 people. You're fired. Let's see.
Who else?
That might be.
I think that's it.
That might be it. What about Mike Vrabel? Or at least Marcus Mariota, just release him.
Well, I was going to say, at least they made the switch. Like, I'll give him that. Like, he finally had the wherewithal to be like, okay, I'm going to take Mariota out. Because it's just not
would
working.
Maybe be the last one, but he made a quarterback change during his shutout. We'll just keep it to those first ones. But those guys are all fired.
It came in the third quarter. It wasn't like a fourth quarter mop-up. It was we still have a chance in this game. I'm going to make a twitch.
Yeah. I would say the thing about Anthony Lynn, the only reason I wouldn't include him on that list, or
he's included.
Maybe at the end of the day he is, but like the Chargers still have been the same team they've been the entire time he's coached. It's just early on they won those close games. Like they still came back and had a shot in this game. But like sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot early, sometimes it's later, but no matter what, it's going to happen no matter who the coach is. I would agree with you on Kitchens though. I think I understand like first-time head coach, you got to give him some time, but with the talent that team has, clearly he's not prepared, so maximize the talent while you have it before you have to maybe pay Baker Mayfield.
He was the quarterback's coach last year, right?
Running backs coach.
Even worse. Running backs coach. I gave him too much credit. So he was in charge of coaching 4 running backs. If they had a fullback on the roster, maybe 5. So now you put him from in charge of 4 or 5 people to 53 plus the practice squad plus the whole organization.
He was
and
offensive
expect him to succeed.
In between.
His mind is going to explode calling draws on 4th and 9. Weird call from a running backs coach. Running backs coaches probably know you don't run on 4th and 9 when you're down 7. But
and then the running back is the one who bobbles the ball that leads to the interception at the end too.
God,
if only someone taught him how to catch.
Freddie Kitchens stinks.
I like when Julian is having a bad week because he comes in Monday and he's pissed.
I was gonna say this.
I had a great Sunday night, so I'm in a happier mood. The last thing that I bet, the last sporting event that I wagered on, had a very positive outcome.
Happy for you.
Thanks.
Another A+ transition, because guess what we're gonna talk about?
Betting?
The bets that I wagered on that didn't win.
Let's bring up the leaderboard.
Oh.
Well,
have the graphic?
You look up to see it. We might not see it.
Oh, fine.
I'm sure it's showing right now, though.
Yes.
And I'll ease us into it here. Bukes, you can start us off. Talk about your 2 picks and how they performed.
You know what? I'll let Julian talk about one of my picks because he would not let up on me on the sweat.
I lost. I went 0-2. We'll get to my picks in a second. I went down with the ship. I stuck with them all week. Bukes comes on the podcast on Wednesday. We're allowed 2 bets here. 2 of our best bets, our strongest spots of the week. You would never waver on them. And selects the Baltimore Ravens minus 11.
Right.
Correct.
We do a great show called The Sweat every Sunday morning from 11:30 to 1. You should check it out. Hopefully gives you some good gambling and DFS insight. We go through every game on the board. Bengals-Ravens comes up. Steve, what are you feeling on this game? Bengals plus 10.5. You're flipping, so I stopped him. I stopped from going to the next segment and said, just to get this right, I believe we do a podcast together called Panel B during the week where one of your best plays, your strongest play of the week, is Baltimore Ravens minus 11. Now we're at Sunday. The line has moved even more in favor of the Bengals, and now you're going with the Bengals. It's not a leaning this way and going this way later in the week. It's this is one of my strongest spots of the week. The line moves in the other team's direction and then goes with the Bengals.
Well, here's the beauty of it.
Lose credibility.
Here's the beauty of it. If you listened on Wednesday, took the bet, then listened to the sweat on Sunday, took that bet, you came out pretty okay.
You broke even and lost the juice on both sides.
No, you came out okay. You came out fine.
You came out losing the minus 110 juice that you made when he listened to you on Wednesday, and then lose the minus 110 juice from when they listened to you on Sunday.
It happens.
And then you're just watching the game with no dog in the fight going, well, when this is over, I lose my 10 cents of juice.
I'm pretty sure we have a disclaimer that, we may not play the bet, so I have the right to change my mind. That's okay. I changed my mind.
There is the disclaimer, but I feel like best bets are...
So first and foremost, I ended up going 1-1. 1-1, which was better than you, because I had Seattle. I stuck with that all week. And let's be clear, mid-game, Julian took Seattle.
When Baker Mayfield got hurt, I immediately live bet the Seahawks.
Which he didn't miss up any time, but that's neither here nor there.
You can timestamp that on my Twitter.
But I finally convinced you mid-game, and you walked away a winner. So
you didn't convince me. Baker Mayfield limping to the locker room convinced me.
But he didn't miss any time. He didn't miss one series.
He was on the bench. He came back, went 3 and out, I think, and then was grimacing on the bench like he.
It's the lesson of live betting. You can't wait to see if he comes back in the game or not.
His ego's probably shot to hell too.
His what?
His ego probably shot.
Well, he was complaining about the refs after the game.
That never leaves.
He still
Real
thinks
quick,
they should have won that game.
At least I'll talk about the Wednesday version of Steve's thoughts on Bengals Ravens, and we said at the time 11 for a divisional opponent who runs the ball all the time. That's way too much, and exactly what happened. You got a backdoor cover from the Bengals.
Mm-hmm. Well,
live and learn.
All right, we're already on you, so you might. Oh, your winner was. Oh no, your winner wasn't Seattle. You might as well do your second one.
No, his winner was Seattle.
Yeah,
his loser was the Ravens. He took the Ravens.
I'm almost positive that your winner was the Saints at Jacksonville.
No, I'm
flip flopping
sure.
on bets. Can't keep track of them.
Producer Matt needs to come to the rescue real quick here. Saints.
Okay. Well, good.
It won. That was one of my plays as well, but not live before the game. We talked about that on Sunday. I was on the Saints. I thought that was a good play, so congratulations.
You know what the worst part is, too? Julian's been
There's a lot of worse parts.
Julian's been on a really cold streak.
Yes.
So I wanted to help him out. So I gave him a great parlay. I said, dude, got to take the Saints money line, and Seattle -1. Mm-hmm. He didn't take it. Guess what hit? That parlay.
Yeah.
Yep. I was on both of them by the end of the games, just not parlayed.
Let's talk Julian's bets here.
All right. Giants, no business scoring 14 points. They got shut out for about 56 minutes of that game, and within a 4-minute span, Golden Tate triple catches a bobbled ball for, however, felt like 99 yards. It was probably much shorter than that. And then Tom Brady holds onto the ball way too long, strip sack. Josh Gordon maybe can stop him before the end zone. Had he, probably would have held the Giants to a field goal and they scored 10 points in that game, but instead Josh Gordon's leg snaps in half backwards and he can't make the tackle. I would have made that tackle with a broken leg to prevent the 14 points from being scored so that I didn't lose my bet, but I lost my bet. Another Patriots team total in rough fashion. And then, of course, the parlay from Thursday all the way to late Sunday afternoon was looking strong. Patriots first half.
Not looking strong, though, because you had
a cover and a cover.
You had Patriots first half money line, and that was 14-14.
A push would have still kept the other two bets open.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Given you credit
in
for
my
it,
defense.
But then the Cowboys.
But it doesn't matter. They covered, and the Ravens won. I didn't think they would cover, but they won. And then the Cowboys and should have done some hedging on Jets money line with Darnold back in. I didn't, and Jason Garrett should be fired. You can see there's
lack of accountability.
There's that tweet going around of Garrett like clapping it up and going to give his players high fives when they come back to the sideline and they all just leave him hanging. That's when you know you should fire your coach, who's been there for like, isn't 15. It like 10 or 11 years now or whatever?
Yeah, he's
like
been there for a while. And that is that.
0-2 to recap.
How about
I'll be better this week.
Just real quick, another 2-0 week for Alex. Repeat.
You should start gambling, dude.
I know.
It's magic. My Dolphins coming to the rescue here, covering the 3.5, and thrilled that they went for 2 rather than kick it to go to overtime. So I was guaranteed, no matter what, they're covering 3.5.
Yep.
Which was excellent. And then I took Jets Jets plus 7. Knew pretty early on that one was going to work out pretty well. Was considering the parlay, the two of them. Luckily, not on the money line, or would have been money line, would have given them some good odds, but no worries. So 8-0 overall, ho hum. We'll give you another 2 winners.
Regression
on Wednesday. We'll see about that. My advanced stats are pretty good too.
So real quick, why did they put Fitzpatrick in that game? Like, it doesn't make sense because that's trying to win.
Coach apparently is not trying to go 0-16.
Yeah, the coach
Management
is trying to.
is.
The coach is trying to audition for his next job.
But against a team, that's true. That's true. But against a team that could also potentially have that first overall pick, that's not the team you want to be trying to.
Right? Yeah. No. But I mean, trust me, as a fan of the Buffalo Sabres, who actively tanked for 2 years as well, like the coaching and the players is a completely different dynamic. Those guys are auditioning for other jobs. They will try to do whatever it takes. You also at some point got to just feel for Rosen in the situation he's continuously been in. So just give him a seat on the bench, give him the day off.
Yeah.
Let Fitz go out there and do some Fitz things, and he did. Now they play the Bills. That's at 16.5, which, leaning toward the Dolphins covering again, to be honest with you. I don't think the Bills are going to need to score more than 10 points in this game anyways. They're going to be content to only score 10 points.
Yep.
We don't know who's going to start I guess Flores did say Rosen is still the starter for us.
Yeah.
So I guess that means he'll start, but that game's in Buffalo. That's going to be a mistake. That's
going to be one rather than play a side of that. And I agree, it could be low scoring enough where the Dolphins actually do cover that. 17 would be nice to get, but that's going to be a spot. One of the best defenses in the league, Miami on the road. That's going to be a spot to look at Miami's team total again.
Sure. Yeah.
Curious where that will open.
Yeah. Overall, right now we're at 39.5 overall.
Right. So the 16.5 point spread. What's that implied total?
Okay, well, Julian's
you keep talking.
do some quick math here. But Bukes, talk a little bit about what else stood out to you this past Sunday, from a DFS standpoint, because Steph Diggs went off, and then pretty chalky, especially as far as running backs go. I mean, there were a lot of backups who people were on, but it ended up just being go with the chalk.
I think overall there was nothing really surprising. It was kind of a meh week overall. The Stephon Diggs thing, I don't think people shouldn't have been too surprised.
Squeaky wheel part.
Squeaky wheel. I mean, the Eagles secondary is just decimated. It doesn't matter who they throw out there. Like
There's a great tweet from Daniel Jeremiah of literally two. They only ran like 2 or 3 routes on the play, and it was 2 wide receivers on the Vikings just running straight down the field, and both were wide open, and that's when Diggs got the touchdown.
Oops.
One of his touchdowns.
I would have been more shocked if he didn't have a big game because, Thielen was coming to this game, supposedly banged up. He was sick or whatever during the week. That was more than I expected. You don't expect somebody to go out there, score 3 touchdowns, 167 receiving yards. That was a little bit, more than you expected. But I think overall this was kind of a quiet week, if you want to say.
Well, especially compared to last week where, everybody, you needed pretty much 200 points in cash games to double up. And this week, not even close.
But, you have, of all the running backs, only 2 went over 30 DraftKings fantasy points. Only 1 over 30 for the wide receivers, which was Diggs. Tight end was, whatever. Henry was a surprise, obviously, but Hooper in that spot, not a surprise. Kittle, I think, burned
there's some conflicting information about Kittle and his
that was limited.
Exactly how much he was going to play. And obviously, if you're season long, then he's still in no matter what. But if it's, he was, 52? Yeah, he's 5,200, which is a lot to pay for a tight end.
Right.
So.
But, kind of a quiet week. And, that something big's going to happen this week just because that's how it goes. That's how it feels like.
Yeah, maybe we'll see something tonight. So let's quickly talk about Monday Night Football. Lions are at the Packers. Lions 3.5-point dogs.
Three now. Oh wait.
No, I'm live right now.
3.5.
Why is?
Hit that refresh button. It's that little circular.
So why is this weird though? The last time I refreshed it, it has the spread as. Oh, this is an alternate spread of some sort.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, all right.
Maybe that's why you're betting so bad.
All right, 3.5 points is the
lines?
spread. We have an over-under of 46. On the money line, you get Packers minus 186 or Lions plus 160. Bukes, how you looking at this game?
I think it's definitely Packers for me. Their secondary we've seen.
Packers covering?
Yes. Yes, sorry. They've been legit. And if you're going to be relying on the Lions to run to win a game, which is, what's been the weakness for the Packers, you're probably not going to come out ahead here. The over-under feels really high at 46. Like I mentioned, the Packers secondary has been fantastic. Stafford has been total hit or miss, but there's no really good matchups you want to capitalize on for the Packers for the Lions to capitalize on the Packers secondary. It's just nothing that stands out. So decent value on the money line for the Lions, but I just don't think they can pull it out.
Carry-on Johnson, 8,600 if you are playing single-game showdown and would like to take that route.
I'm leaning Lions here, and this opened up at 6 and has been hammered down by sharps because public money's still going on Green Bay. They want the better quarterback at home, the more fan-friendly team, I guess you would say. But underdogs are on a ridiculous streak this season. Underdogs are
Saints.
Let's see, 53, 35, and 2 against the spread.
Wow.
Road underdogs are 40, 20, and 1 against the spread, and divisional dogs are 17 and 10 against the spread this season. So this spot screams, let the bozos like Bukes run into the sports book to bet on Aaron Rodgers, and then you put the smart money on the Detroit Lions. However, it does kind of stink to have to take plus 3.5 when it was plus 6 earlier in the week. And your casual bettors focus on, I want to bet on Sunday, and then get to Monday Night Football, and you lose the value on that line. So this is a spot where I do agree with Bukes about the total. This opened at 47, came down to 45.5, back up to 46. This is a spot where I would consider trying to tease it 6 points, and you can get Detroit plus 9.5, and then the under of 52. You put those together; those feel like safer, sharper spots that were being looked at earlier in the week that you can kind of buy back some of your points there that you missed by waiting. Those are my thoughts.
Bozo. I don't know if we want to compare records lately. No, just saying.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Scoreboard doesn't lie.
He comes.
Oh, look at the scoreboard for our Sunday show.
Why did you tally up this past Sunday?
Not yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will all wait breathlessly for the conclusion.
Tune in Sunday.
Reminder that the odds and lines are subject to change. I have to get to this earlier than usual. This is where we're at. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem and would like some help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, please see site for actual odds. We're going to shift focus a little bit before we get to our stacks because there is some baseball going on tonight. We do have the Cardinals trying to avoid a 3-0 hole, sending Jack Flaherty out onto the mound to face, though, Steven Strasburg. Over-under is set at 7. Money line, Cardinals still underdogs, though, plus 118 with Strasburg and the Nationals at home now after taking 2 at Busch Stadium. They are minus 136. 2 great pitchers. These games have, haven't really blown out, kind of gone, I guess, how we would expect them to so far. So with how well Flaherty has pitched, is that kind of where we're leaning here?
I mean, you can't put money down on the Cardinals right now. I mean, I think they're batting .38 in this series. It's unbelievable. Like, I like the Cardinals going into the series. And one of those
with Anibal Sanchez, but
right. I like the Cardinals going into the series because they were the underdog. Thought they gave some good value. Nationals bullpen has been an issue. Scherzer has been okay at best, but they just can't hit anything. It's amazing. Like, Anibal Sanchez, that was the matchup you're supposed to take game 1. Maybe take game 2 if you can get Scherzer out early. Strasburg's going to be a problem. But now, instead of even having a win in the column, now they got to try to face Strasburg to avoid going 3-0. Like, they're in major trouble.
And Scherzer was the opportunity. We talked about how he had been performing recently. That was the guy you needed to try and
especially at home versus on the road.
Sure.
Go ahead.
And sorry, and real quick too. The other thing is that even if you had the lead, started to slip in the later games, you would have Flaherty for the second time in a potential Game 7.
Right.
You're probably not going to get that now because if you fall behind here, it's over. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no chance they come back against Corbin or Scherzer or whatnot. So, this is, I hate doing the cliche, this is such a must-win for them because this is their best chance to get back in this series. But against Strasburg, who's been fantastic in the playoffs, I just don't see it happen. I think this is already over for the Cardinals.
This is definitely a must-win for them. I mean, you go down 0-3, we know...
With your best pitcher.
Right, with your ace on the mound as an underdog, that's a comeback that's only happened once. And the money's coming in on the Nets, too. This was plus 110 on Flaherty, and now that's a plus 118. So people are backing Strasburg. Like, talk about a tough matchup to, like, now you finally get Flaherty in this series, and he has to go against Strasburg on the road. You had to win one of those home games if you're St. Louis. So I thought that if there was a time to back the Cardinals, it was potentially game 1 as like minus 130 favorites, and then maybe look at betting the hotter team overall, who's the Nationals, as underdogs in the series. As kind of like an interesting angle. Obviously, that didn't even come close to presenting a spot to do that. But like, who expects if there was a down spot? It was the Nationals had to go all out to get that game 4 and then game 5 at Dodger Stadium. If there was a down spot, it was going to be game 1 on the road with Anibal Sanchez, kind of resetting their rotation, their bullpen, and Anibal Sanchez throws a one-hitter. 4 hits and 1 run in 2 games combined at home to start NLCS. And the craziest stat about this is that this is the second time ever that a pair of teammates have thrown 5 no-hit innings in consecutive playoff starts. The only other time that happened, either you guys know it?
I do not.
Was
it like Schilling, Randy Johnson?
No, it was more recent, but it's crazy.
Okay.
The only other time this happened was
Royals?
The 2013 ALCS. The Detroit Tigers did it to the Boston Red Sox. You want to know the 2 pitchers that did it? Anibal Sanchez and Max Scherzer.
Wow. What? You're saving that one in your back pocket.
Yeah.
I thought you guys would have seen it. It's on Twitter. It's like ESPN Stats and Info, I think, had it. It's not hidden.
Sorry, man. I had a busy weekend.
Yeah,
all right.
We got things going on. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
All good. I shouldn't have told you guys that. I researched that myself, actually.
Oh, but that was good for the show. Nice little research from Julian. Rare occasion.
Yeah, man.
Happy for you.
I actually just knew that.
He's got to break the cold streak, man. He's cracking the books open.
He is.
I am.
He's doing some research.
I'm doing all types of research, and we'll see what happens.
All right, well, there you go. Showdown, it's kind of tough to even really to talk about. I mean, the prices more or less have all stayed the same. Strasburg's 11,400. Then you have Rendon, 10,200 with Flaherty at 96. So, again, some value on Flaherty. just given the pitcher that he is. But win equity is almost nil. Again, as you're talking about, at best a pitcher's duel.
Yep. And
his team has not been backing him up. Obviously, you really like the bats of the Nationals when the bullpens start to come into play, and the Nationals, to their credit, are getting it done on the back end as well, condensing obviously their bullpen rotation. But a team that to get to this point was all about coming back, doing what it takes, in the later innings and in the later games of the series. But they're jumping out ahead in this series, so we'll see if they can close the door and just. They're the team with the momentum. We see it a lot of times in the postseason. So I think that kind of ties a bow right now, at least, on how we're looking at the NLCS. We'll be back, of course, Wednesday to talk about probably both series by then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We'll have a little more clarity. A team will have a lead in the ALCS,
yep.
which will be pretty cool to talk about. Maybe getting some good value on whoever is down 2-1. Let's go to our all-time stack then. Like I teased earlier, I didn't even tease it, I just brought it up. It's going to be the Indianapolis Colts. They fall in next in line here on our Monday stack. Of course, we talk about teams, so sometimes there's more agreement, a little less crazy, but, pretty cool to look back and compare a couple guys. Maybe we have some disagreements at a couple positions and flex, who knows where these minds will go. Stephen Buchanan. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex, Indianapolis Colts. All-time stack. Go.
It has to be Peyton Manning. I think that's going to be a consensus.
Fair enough.
At quarterback.
If he was still playing, would Andrew Luck? No. Okay.
If he was still playing? Today?
Today.
How old would he be?
Andrew Luck?
Oh,
he's what, 29?
I think you're talking about Manning. I was like,
no. I'm saying,
what?
I was saying, could he have continued to play his way into a conversation? But
well, sure, but he's got to win something first.
Yeah.
That was the biggest knock with Luck, is that he never won anything. Wide receiver, I have Marvin Harrison. Reggie Wayne was kind of on there for me, but I went with Harrison.
I left Harrison off just because there was some shadiness about him too after the playing days that I don't know.
But I don't care about it after that.
Fantasy points.
I know.
I don't care about that. You can do whatever you want in your free time. If you do it on the fields, whatever.
Yeah.
Look at Tyreek Hill's playing. Running back.
Moving on.
Running back. Lenny Moore at running back. And then Lenny Moore?
Lenny Moore?
Yes.
You took a guy from 1956 as your running back?
Well, when you look at, we're talking about all time.
And he doesn't even act like, not like Edgerrin James had four of the best.
Yeah, so Lenny Moore, and then moving on to my flex.
Okay, no, wait a second. If you're going to condemn me for that, then
we're not condemning you. We're saying make the case for him because he's not the obvious pick. I'm not. I love when we go off the board. So just convince me of it.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if we're gonna what are you talking about? Maybe we should set a time frame.
I have no
it's
problem
anybody
with the
you
pick.
want.
I'm just saying you can't just say the name and not bring up why. Why Lenny Moore? What did he do? I've never even heard of this guy. I'm intrigued. Teach me something.
Now I have my window open.
So I'll tell you this. I don't want to ruin my stack, but the running back position came down to two guys. It's Edgerrin James, and then people forget about Marshall Faulk,
Eric Dickerson.
But Faulk, Dickerson's actually a good
here.
One.
Lenny Moore, all-time rushing, 5th in Colts history with 5,174
right,
yards.
So here's the thing.
Edgerrin James first, 9,226. Why is it Lenny Moore such a shoo-in?
And Faulk and Dickerson were both above 5,000. But here's the thing. Edgerrin James got those 9,226 yards from 1999 to 2005. Lenny Moore got a little more than half those yards between 1956 and 1967. That's like a 12-year window where he got half as many yards as Edgerrin James got in 6 years.
You know what?
This guy is something
Lenny Moore's best single season, 49th on the all-time Indianapolis Colts rushing list. Dominic Rhodes had better. Frank Gore
Where did you
had
come up
seasons.
with this?
I was looking in the Uber on the way here.
I gotta say, ownership will be really low on Lenny Moore.
I mean, this is one of those times where, you're just trying to get way too cute. I'm gonna fade Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk,
I think
Eric
we're giving
Dickerson.
him way too much credit on trying to be cute, and more, it was a name that just showed up on the list, and he's like, no one will say no. Oh yeah, Lenny Moore. Single
did have a
season
reason.
rushing totals, leaders. Single season. 1, Edgerrin James. 2, Eric Dickerson. 3, Edgerrin James. 4, Edgerrin James. 5, Edgerrin James. Yeah, but Lenny Moore.
I had a reason. It's on my iPad and it's not with me.
I thought it was a good one.
All right, nice.
Your
Who's your
Sorry,
flex?
you got to flex. Maybe it's Edgerrin James.
Is your flex
No.
Jerry
Burt
Hill?
Jones?
Jerry Hill was
Oh,
a
yes.
fullback.
Johnny Unitas?
Yes.
Jerry Hill was a fullback
What?
from
Yeah,
1961
yeah, it
to
is.
1970.
Yeah,
really
it
is.
is what?
Johnny Unitas. It's right there.
That says Johnny Unitos.
Okay, well, I can't help autocorrect. That's not my fault. I know who it is.
Yes, Unitos, the often known word.
Somebody else go. I'm sick of all you people. Monday morning dealing with this
Edgerrin
crap.
James played 6 games in 2001 and had more rushing yards than the highest total of Lenny Moore had in a single season.
I have to go
6
back and see why I had him down.
662 yards and more than Lenny Moore ever put up.
Oh, man.
All right, Johnny Unitos. All right, that one makes sense.
That's
All right.
interesting.
Go, Julian.
Producer Matt is threatening to cancel Stacks if we don't bring some more respectability to this. Edlow, please save us.
He's researching now.
I want to see something. No, I have mine. I just want to see something.
Okay, well, before you see something, give us your first.
Peyton Manning's the quarterback. I don't think that you can argue that, even with Johnny Unitas. Stats-wise, Manning's as good as it gets.
Thanks.
Running back, Edgerrin James, with the seasons that we obviously just discussed, literally out there running circles around Lenny Moore.
Lenny Moore.
Literally out there running circles around Lenny Moore.
That guy's got a family.
I think
It's
Lance
just-
Moore had more rushing yards than Lenny Moore.
Edgerrin James, those prime early 2000 seasons were just like off the board elite running back. He would have been one of those guys that was 8,000 every week on DK.
It's like the greatest 3-person tandem probably in NFL history.
Yeah, no questions asked there. I did go with Marvin Harrison just because the numbers are there, whether you want to go individual seasons or long term. He had over 1,100 catches, over 14,500 yards, 128 TDs. Those were all with the Colts.
I would say, though, Wayne also didn't get to always play with Peyton Manning.
Correct.
Like, Wayne had to produce with some pretty bad quarterbacks. After
Correct.
The fact.
And when Reggie Wayne came on, he came on strong.
Yeah. Is he your flex?
So the flex to me then came down to either Reggie Wayne or Marshall Faulk, who I thought Marshall Faulk might get a little overlooked here. So
Sure.
I just thought sometimes we do the ownership talk. I think Reggie Wayne's the obvious one.
Yeah.
I think Marshall Faulk has just as much, if not more, upside.
Great upside.
So
PPR.
a young Marshall Faulk, pre Rams Marshall Faulk, I'll go there.
All right. Now I'm with you there. I went Manning, James, and then Reggie Wayne was my wide receiver. I think I've made that clear already. And then I just went off the board and fun with the fourth one because I figured we were going to be pretty chalky.
Maybe
Little
not.
did I know Lenny Moore was coming into the equation here.
Bucks is just digging through all-time Colts rushing stats right now to find
Quick
something.
honorable mention to producer Matt, who wanted Jeff Saturday as his flex. Yeah, fifth again. Like,
So this is what I'm saying. He's fifth all time. So look,
Fine.
Edgerrin James, 9,226 rushing yards in, what is that, 6 seasons?
Yeah.
7 seasons.
Okay.
Lenny Moore, 12 seasons, a little over half those rushing yards.
we've officially spent too much time on.
So that's like a quarter of the yards per season.
I don't care.
You should care.
Sticking to his
I
guns.
think, from as far as I know, yards are worth fantasy points. But
Yeah, and my flex guy will get you no yards. It's Rob Lowe, because the Peyton Manning tweet is an all-timer to me, to come out of nowhere and just be like, Peyton Manning's retiring. Oh no. And he was semi-right in that Manning no longer played for the Colts after that, so he obviously had insider information. And then, that relationship with Jim Irsay led the way to some great Parks and Rec integrations with the Indianapolis Colts in the city of Pawnee. I love that show, love that character. So anything that brought those guys onto the show, it was always fun when the Colts and the Pacers as well, but the Colts were on the show. So I feel a lot better about that than putting Lenny Moore into my lineup.
So I also wanted to see maybe Lenny Moore was just a goal line beast, dominating at the goal line.
Tell me, did
So I
he
was
vulture
like,
touchdowns? Did he
let's
score a lot?
look at touchdowns here. In twice as many seasons as the Colts running back, Lenny Moore had one less touchdown than Edgerrin James had in half as many years. So he was not a...
He was a slow burn. Nothing wrong with that.
He's just
Yeah,
kind
you know,
of, he was just kind of a bad player from the 50s.
Other strategies we've talked about, though, put him on a Peyton Manning offense. I bet there's a lot more holes for him to run through. He just
Right.
needed, the opportunity, which he didn't get in his 12 seasons.
That there could be.
As a Baltimore Colt, I bet. It wasn't even in Indianapolis.
If you were going to go with an old-time guy, this Lindell Mitchell dude sounds good. He only played 6 seasons and had almost 5,500 yards.
I bet that's what he wrote down,
touchdowns.
but autocorrect just heard it.
Could be.
You know what? I'm not doing stacks next week.
The classic Bukes walkout.
I'm still here. Just not doing the stacks.
We'll do the Orioles so you can stack Andrew.
Wednesday's
Kashner.
fun stack will be stacking Bukes' worst stacks. Have a great time with that.
With Julian's
computer.
worst bets. Hey!
Oh,
all right, helping
you guys
out.
got me.
And my worst watch? Just kidding. There's never a bad watch. Never a bad watch. Got another big one.
Dumb idiot.
It's like an arm weight. All right. We are done.
Good.
Panel B for Julian, for Steven. Steve, Lenny Moore, Buchanan.
We got to get a Lenny Moore jersey.
Yep.
Old
And Andrew
yes.
Kashner.
Watch enough. There it is. Hope. More
Yeah.
hope. Our
More
our
hope.
campaign slogan is writing itself. All right. I'm Alex Jankowski. Leave. Go. We're done. Show's
Good.
over.
Bye.